Welcome back to Premier League Today. Hashtag PL Today for your thoughts. Still asking you for your Manchester United 11, who you think will turn out for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side as he takes on Cardiff City. The weekend, though, kicks off with Wolves up against Liverpool. Let's hear from the manager now.
I saw them, I think, 5 or 6 games last year in the Championship, and they were really impressive. It's unbelievable what they did. And then they brought in they did really good business in the transfer market, to be honest. They kept really good players. I think that they could invest, that they kept invest. It's not normal after the season he played, so that was really cool for them, and brought in good players. So it's a round team, I have to say. It really looks really good. And then, of course, the results are sometimes a bit like that. Unlucky here, a bit lucky there. Against City, they were 100% lucky, and I know that. But they did really well, and I respect that a lot. The way they try to stay in the league is special, because usually you try to keep the league somehow, to stay in the league somehow. And they do it in a football way. So that's really really good. But so far they didn't play us, and that must be a new experience for them as well. To be honest, we have to be really strong. We know that, but there's no reason at the moment why I should think we will not be strong. So that's it. I would really say we are always motivated the highest level. So where can we put this extra portion to say, okay, but if City lose, then it makes more, then we are even more motivated. It doesn't really work. So we really are concentrated in our situation. And to be honest, we are in December, and I think Tottenham is 6 points. Oh, that's a massive. We play them still, and City plays them probably as well. So and then Chelsea, Arsenal, even Arsenal, all that stuff. They are so close. So then so many things can happen. I should be thinking now about one opponent. Like we are the only one who can stop City or whatever. It's not like that. This season looks completely different. Only City can stop City, to be honest, and not we. We have to play our own game and try to get as many points as possible. That's actually all.
Jurgen Klopp's probably going to hate these stats then that I'm about to read. The team top of the table on Christmas Day has gone on to win the title in 14 of the 26 previous Premier League season, and in 8 of the last 9, the exception being Liverpool in 2013-14. Liverpool's haul of 45 points from the opening 17 league games is the best at this stage of a top-flight competition. It's all there, isn't it? Liverpool, go beat Wolves tonight, go win the title. Easy as that, done.
Is it?
No.
Not quite. Oh, well, despite what Jurgen says, I think there'll be other teams that do have an influence on the title race. But to me, I think you'd be a brave man saying that it's going to be won by anyone else other than Manchester City and Liverpool at the moment. It's been a brilliant title race already, and we're just approaching halfway. I mean, I don't think we've seen 2 teams in the Premier League this good for a long time. OK, you can argue that we've had a great Manchester United team, a great Arsenal team, the Invincibles, a great Chelsea team under Jose. But to have 2 teams of this standard, I can't really, in the recent past, I can't remember the Premier League looking so good.
You mentioned the Invincibles. It was Lovren this week that said that he thinks Liverpool will go on and do that and match that this season. Do you think so?
Well, if they ask you, can you go through a season unbeaten? What if you say no? It's not really a good answer. So not sure we should read too much into it. I worry a little bit from Liverpool's perspective about this game, because this is sort of the classic game just before your bigger opponents come, just before Christmas, where you think, you know what, this is going to be fine. But still, of course, they're favourites. The defensive solidity that they found this season has made a huge difference, because it's allowed Liverpool to be slightly more economic, I think, with the way they play. They don't have to chase games as much. They don't find themselves behind as much. They lead more because they don't concede, and they can manage games much better. And I think that is really the key of getting these consistent results, because you cannot play 100% every single game over 38 games, especially not in the Premier League with the way that the fixtures work. So you need to be able to learn how to win with 85, 90%. And I think Liverpool have done that. They've mastered that. Now they just need to keep going. But Wolves, with the way that they play football, and Jurgen Klopp mentioned it, I think will pose a different kind of challenge. They haven't really come up against too many sides who want to keep the ball, even in spite of Liverpool's pressing, and will not sort of compromise on their passing style. And that will pose different kind of problems for them. It'll be interesting to see how they cope tonight.
The point where I think lots of people started talking more about Liverpool was that result over Manchester United, which has kind of been a bit lost in all that's happened at Old Trafford over this last week. But beating Manchester United 3-1, and the style in which they beat them, Michael.
Yeah, well, but I think it was expected, wasn't it? I mean, Liverpool are, or were, certainly are at the moment, a lot better than Manchester United. Their players are better. Whether if Manchester United get a tune out of their players over the next few months, whether you could start saying that they're back and on a par or whatever is open to debate. But at the moment, Liverpool are far better to the Manchester United, and I thought that was just a reflection of where both teams are at the moment. I don't think there was any real surprise in what happened that day.
There were, though, players, or I guess they're getting that tune, Jurgen Klopp, out of players across the pitch. Andy Robertson, Jose Mourinho talked about still being tired watching him, the amount that he runs on the pitch, the sprints that he does every minute.
Robertson was phenomenal. I mean, Robertson was on a different planet. And Liverpool need those fullbacks because their midfield is a functional one. They don't have a lot of creative midfielders in the usual three that play, and they don't score too many goals, and they don't necessarily join up with the attack effectively. Sort of the width from the fullbacks is absolutely crucial. And in recent games, again, we've seen Robertson playing almost like a wing-back in terms of the runs he makes, the kind of impact he has attacking-wise, while at the same time Liverpool then tend to keep the right-back a little bit further behind. That's another reason, I think, why they're a bit more solid. You usually see only one of the two going, certainly in the bigger games, not both of them going high up the pitch, which then can leave the back two, a little bit exposed. And I think that's another sort of reason why they've progressed and have become more refined and more sophisticated in their attacking game. But if you have a player that just, with sheer energy, can double up as a winger and a defender at the same time and goes up and down without missing a beat, that is a dream for any manager.
These players are reflective of their manager, though, aren't they? You look at Manchester City, they're reflective of Guardiola. You can actually see the coach in these players. You can see the way that they're trying to play. You can see it with Liverpool. And look at the way Jurgen Klopp talks and is and how excited he is. It's a reflection. You look at Manchester United over the last few years under Jose Mourinho. Defensive, negative. It's the team is a reflection of the manager. That's the most important thing a manager can give to his players, that sort of, that energy or whatever it might be to do. Because as I mentioned earlier, these are the experts. The footballers are the ones that are the people that are doing it, that can do it. Jose Mourinho can't tell any of them how to control a ball, pass it. He's never done it. He's never kicked a ball at a high level. So he's good at managing, and all these players are probably good at managing and doing what they do, but they're not the ones on the pitch. So they've got to create an environment for the people on the pitch. And this is what the best managers are doing at the moment. They're creating a happy atmosphere. Footballers are changing as well. You can't really rule in general with an iron fist anymore. Every good manager seems to be close to their players and got a great rapport with fans and their players. So that's just the way things are going at the moment.
Would you have loved to have played at Liverpool under him, under Jurgen Klopp?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I was never one that particularly enjoyed getting a telling off, let's say. I don't think I would have responded too well to a manager criticising me all the time. It wouldn't have acted as a motivation to prove him wrong, I don't think. I would much prefer a manager to believe in me and tell the other players, get the ball to Michael Owen, he'll score. That makes me feel bigger about myself, not somebody having a go at me all the time, whether it's in the press or whether it's to our face. And I think when you've got that relationship with your players, you can be then critical. If you've got that bond with somebody, you can actually say to them, have a critical conversation with them, but know that they're doing it for the right reasons. Whereas I think what we've seen with other clubs is messages sort of being almost planted through the press and different things like that. And I just don't think it works anymore.
And then it shows them up when you see Pep Guardiola, we see Jurgen Klopp as well. Looking at the fixtures, though, over this busy period coming up for Liverpool, we said about maybe Manchester United and Gunnar Solskjaer, maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had an easier time of it, but Liverpool have got a difficult set of fixtures coming up.
Very, very difficult. Wolves, as we said, is not foregone conclusion. OK, Newcastle, you expect them to do well there, but then Arsenal, City, just between Christmas and New Year's is it's pretty tough. And I think the City game is shaping up to be maybe the decisive one, but that is only with the caveat that Liverpool probably have to win every single game before that, because City, you can't expect to drop any points. The great fear, I think, that must be in the back of their minds of Liverpool, even though they will not say it, is they could have their historically best ever season, points-wise, and still finish very short of a City team that just smash all records to bits. I mean, what Liverpool are doing this year, in a normal season without City, would see them 6-7 points clear of the table. And now they're 1 point clear of the table, looking over the shoulders the whole time. So that is the problem that you have, in a way. But I think what they've done is they learned the lessons of the past when it comes to strengthening the defence, strengthening the keeper, but also having now enough depth in the squad to cope with these kind of fixture congestion and that amount of tough games coming up. And I think that he's never been in a position to make enough changes without losing quality as he is now. And that will really help them, because there is no way that you can rely on the same 11, even 12, 13 players to come through a list like that.
I'm just shaking my head at the thought of going a whole season unbeaten and still finishing second in the Premier League.
Possible.
The sickener. No, ever the bright spot. Thank you, Rafa. Let's hear from the Wolves boss then. The first task up for Liverpool over this period. Here's Nuno Espirito Santo.
They are the top of the league, so that says a lot. It says a lot that we're going to face one of the best teams in Europe in the actual moments. We look forward to it. I think everybody can see what Klopp is doing and the way Liverpool plays and what they are building and achieving. So it's amazing, and it's going to be tough. The team spirit, the way we feel, the way we think as a team is what can push us forward and able us to achieve things that we want as a team, always as a team. So on that point, that is innegotiable. Team spirit, always team. That can never go away from us. The way we work, the way we believe, the way we stay on track, the way we on a daily basis support each other as a group. That's what takes you and makes you proud that you have a bad moment and you go out of that. And the way we did it, credit for the players, and makes us all proud because we solve it. It doesn't mean that cannot happen again, but we are ready. I have to say, I'm focused on the game of tomorrow, but of course, when you speak about Jose Mourinho, personally, he has an impact on me because naturally I was member of the squad of 2003, 2003 and 2004 and 5, 3 and 4 at Porto. And that will stay forever, because when you have someone that manages, that coaches you, and you follow, and you believe, and you do everything that you can because you believe in that idea and your leader, that stays forever. So that's an impact that Jose Mourinho had on me, and I think in everybody that was member of that squad. It teaches how to win, so that will stay forever.
There's some good compliments paid towards Jose Mourinho. Wolves had a little bit of a sticky period. Rafa, I feel like they've just come back into it.
Yeah, they've had a disappointing spell, but that's only because they set the bar quite high with that really good start and looked as if they could be one of those teams that might disrupt kind of the elite. And then they had, as you said, a few setbacks, and now they've started winning again. And that is sort of the range of what you'd expect from Wolves in the best case scenario. They play some really lovely stuff, but I think it'd be really hard, simply because of the quality ahead of them, to go all the way and sort of break up the top 6 or even get closer to the Champions League places. It's just too much quality. But when it comes to sort of the unofficial title, what Southampton always used to refer to back in the day when they were much more solid, to be the best of the rest, I think they've got a reasonable chance of doing that this year, because You know, you have Everton and West Ham and these teams around them, and I wouldn't necessarily say that they're better than Wolves. This Wolves team are really, really good, especially if you consider the resources that they have. I think the strength of the recruiting and the kind of being on the same page when it comes to having a very specific way of playing, and especially getting the right players for that. I think that's where they've stolen a little bit of a march on some of their perhaps more storied rivals in that section of the table.
Sometimes the criticism against them, thinking in the wobbles against Cardiff and Huddersfield and Brighton, was they didn't like teams in their faces, though, just disrupting that rhythm.
Well, their record against the top teams has been remarkable.
Yeah.
They've taken points off a lot of the big boys. When I watch them, I really rate them. I really think they're a good team. But I don't think they look as if they're going to score lots of goals. And against those teams that you've just mentioned, they get in your face and you've got to be, quite creative against. I think you need to be able to open these teams up and score plenty of goals. But when I watch them, I never really fear for them. I never really think, oh, you're going to get beaten 3 or 4-0 today. But I don't, as much as they're very easy on the eye, I love the way they spray the ball out from the centre halves. They can play long to the full-backs who like to bomb on. They can play short. But I just don't think they create or score enough goals to be always comfortable against the lesser teams, let's say. So maybe they need to get a centre-forward that's going to score 20-odd goals in a season. Maybe that just might be the finishing touch to it. But when I watch them, I really rate them. And I think Liverpool are in for a very hard game tonight.
We are, after the break, going to hear from Pep Guardiola. If Liverpool go and get those 3 points tonight, that puts the pressure right back on Manchester City. Yeah,
that's the way the Premier League is going at the moment. It's whoever plays first is getting one up on the other team, and can they answer back? This Premier League season, I know it's always good to win a Premier League title, but this year it's the one to win. It's a good one to win because, as I said before, I don't think there's ever been 2 teams this good in the Premier League at the same time, and it'll be special whoever wins it.
By a break, I just meant a dramatic pause. Ready? Good. Right, let's move on then. Manchester City up against Palace. Let's hear from Pep Guardiola.